Hi, my friends. It's Michelle. Welcome to my channel and welcome to a special, well, I won't even call it special, a different tea with me. I'm calling it C with me. I've had a really tough summer. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I'm also not going to drag you down because you know what? Life happens and we can't always control the things that happen to us. And sometimes we have to understand that being alive is different than just living. And today I woke up and some really difficult things happened in my life. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to just live this day. I want to be alive today. So I got in my car and I drove to an art museum. And I'm hoping to use today's experience to encourage anyone out there who's feeling uncreative or stuck or frustrated with their circumstances to use things around us and use the opportunities we have every day to get our mind right, our heart right, and back into the studio. So here I am at the Currier Museum of Art in Manchester, New Hampshire. Let's go take a peek. I'm going to take a deep breath and take this opportunity to really be alive today and get some inspiration. I'm going to start in the abstract room, which abstract is always sort of difficult for me. But one of the things I really do love is all the textures and the colors and the way the abstract artists are so heavy-handed. It really does inspire me. As I travel room to room, I see artists that take classic techniques and turn them into something completely new. They look at art in their own individual way. There are aesthetics and installations that combine really serious topics with whimsical execution. This room in particular isn't my aesthetic, but I was really drawn to the fact that by creating a room full of sparkles, the artwork that the artist put on the wall really stood out, and it set the tone for what you were looking at, reminding me that every artist has a voice. I'll admit it, I absolutely love the European galleries and the Renaissance art. It intrigues me to study the little details like the embroidery floss here and the little folded napkin with the fruit. I love looking in the background and seeing the tiny landscapes, these beautiful details that so painstakingly were put in. The translucency of her veil and the gold hair on her shoulders, and of course the gold filigree halo. It's just so stunning and it is just amazing to me. I am certainly no art expert, but one of my most favorite things as a child when I went to an art museum was looking at these still life paintings and then learning that all the items that were placed in them had meaning, that they were symbols. I loved learning about what each symbol was, and I felt like I was cracking a code, like there was a secret, that the paintings held secrets that now I knew. And I still love that aspect of looking at still lifes like this. And that blue platter in the background has a specific meaning in this particular painting. And one of the things I love about this museum is they have a very close platter from the same time period that they put next to it, which really brings the whole thing together and just reminds me the importance of details and symbolism in work. I'm really drawn to that, and it really reinforces when I go to museums the things that I love and that I want to include in my work. This beautiful painting of Helen of Troy, as gorgeous and grand as it was, I loved looking at her rings and the small little folded papers that had her name on it. I like going to these oil landscapes and just really studying those tiny little landscapes in the background. I'm just amazed at how detailed they are, and it just really excites me. I think one of the best parts about going to a museum is looking around and noticing the things that really catch your eye. In this particular case, it's not so much the subject matter for me as the lighting. That lighting is so dramatic and just so well executed. And of course, I love the nature and botanical inspired paintings. It totally reinforces my love for that in my work. But it's all sorts of types of and styles that I'm drawn to. It could be the Victorian in the back of this Hopper painting and the lights that are in the windows. Or it could be the vibrancy and the color of an abstract painting. It's paying attention to the things that really excite you. Of course, being in front of a master's work like this Picasso is always exciting. But aside from being impressed by the fact that it's a Picasso, it just reminds me that Picasso's work is people either really like it or they don't. People of his time didn't understand him. And he created 50,000 pieces, and not all of them were successes. If that isn't encouraging for our own voice, I don't know what is. I'm not saying I'm a Picasso, but I'm saying that there's a place for all of us. I love in this piece how the artist actually made his frame. He used colors to go with the colors of his painting, and he carved like sort of whimsical abstract pieces in the frame. There's a temporary gallery set up right now for an artist, and I cannot pronounce her name, and I don't want to even attempt to butcher it, so I'll put it in the box below. She's about my age, and she's an immigrant from Iran. She got her MFA in Rhode Island in 1984, and she is the most amazing artist when it comes to communicating poetry and through mixed media. Like, she's a amazing realistic artist. Like, these are all acrylics and it's so real. Her paintings are so real in person. You almost think parts of them are photographs. And she uses imagery and textiles and all sorts of really interesting things to communicate her feelings about being a woman and about oppression, about politics, about where she came from. And that's just also a reminder to me that, our voice can be about really important things. Then there was this room. And this is an exhibit that's about to be taken down. It's a series of little movies that Andy Warhol made in the 60s of famous people, poets, musicians, politicians, disruptors, and he essentially had them sit in front of a camera for 4 minutes. I'm only showing you really tiny little snippets because what I found really fascinating about this exhibit was it didn't matter how much confidence or how successful someone was. When you're staring at a camera for 4 minutes, you can't hide. And people would do distracting things like smoke a cigarette or drink from a bottle of Coke or play. In this case, this gentleman was playing with some string. He did a cat's cradle. And then there were some people who really stared at the camera and let their emotions just communicate. This particular video or this film with this artist just crying was so poignant. And at one point in the video, her lips are almost in a smile, and you can't tell if she's crying because she's sad or she's happy. But the emotion that she's communicating just by staring through the video was just so moving, and is so really interesting of an experiment of Warhol to do, to put people in front of cameras and make videos of just letting them be them, really seeing into someone's eyes and seeing who that person is. And one of the things that really struck me was the films. These are silent films. There's nothing to distract you from the faces. And the films that really grabbed me were the people that were brave enough to show you who they were. They weren't distracting you with movement. They weren't wearing sunglasses or doing some things that you were not looking at them as a person. The people who could really stare at you and really show you who they were, those were the films that I really connected with. And it really reminded me of something that I want to be more of. I want to be authentic. I want to show up and look in the lens of life and not hide or blend. I want to just be me, because that's okay. And whatever art I choose to make doesn't need to look like everybody else's, and I don't have to live up to somebody else's idea of what my art is. And that's really freeing. I actually really loved this exhibit. Okay, I'm not even gonna comment about the toothbrushing. What? And as a fun side note, one of the videos is this distinguished gentleman who you may or may not recognize as Salvador Dali. I have always been so intrigued by his work, and I find it absolutely fascinating to watch him in this film. It's really quite remarkable to see one of the masters on reacting to the same experiment. Okay, so now we're going to go a little bit into my cute little art museum that's just 25 minutes down the road from where I live. My son got me a membership here for Christmas, and on days like today, it is just a wonderful, wonderful way to recharge my batteries. Another thing I love to do at this art museum is look at local art. This is a Wyeth, Andrew Wyeth, which he's very famous, much more than just a local artist, but he is from Maine, not too far from here, and it's really nice seeing his work. This work is very typical of the area I live. This is what Manchester looks like. It was the biggest mill yard in the world at one time, and Amaskeg Mill Yard is the canal is still, the canal isn't here, but the buildings are. I love looking at items that are outside of the box and make me really think. This mirror is one of my favorite pieces in the museum. It is made of Murano glass, and it's a Victorian mirror, completely made out of glass, and the art has meaning. The reflection piece has, symbolism to it, but I just think the details are absolutely stunning and amazing, and I can't help but just gawk at it every single time I come into this space. And I'm going to share with you one of my absolute favorite pieces at this museum. It's called The Goldfish Window, and it's a painting of a woman in the 1920s, and the goldfish in the bowl and the kimono robe she's wearing. It's very typical of the time period and Japanese influence, and I just love the colors, and I just adore it. This one is also a really lovely painting about a girl who was embroidering, and then she got a knock on the door and she has to check herself in the mirror because her suitor is outside. And I just love this one too. I love pictures that tell a story. So I'm going to wrap up this little visit to our museum by saying that this was exactly what I needed today to recharge my batteries. I needed a reminder that while it's wonderful that we have so many outlets to be inspired, we have so many platforms like Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube and Facebook and Flickr and TikTok and all those places to see other people's work and to be inspired by other people. But when the inspiration starts to become noise, when it starts to convince us that everything we do has to look the same and feel the same, then we're losing our way. I know I had started to lose my way. I'd started forgetting what brought me joy, and that it was okay that I do different types of projects that don't necessarily look like everybody else's, and that I can try new things, and that I can be brave. And having that reminder recharges my batteries and makes me less intimidated to sit down in my studio and do something new, because I can kind of shake loose those ideas that my art has to be something other than what it is, which is 100% me and 100% authentic and something that makes me happy. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that it frees you into thinking, being inspired by others is great, but you can do exactly what you want, and it's okay if it doesn't look the same, if it doesn't come out the same, if you use different colors, if you like whimsical, if you like dramatic, if you want to make a political statement, if you just want to do it to make you happy. Their art is about self-expression. It's not about fitting in. Walking through the museum today, I was reminded that there were so many different styles, there's so many different viewpoints, there's so many different medias, and everybody's way of doing things is absolutely unique. And there's a freedom to knowing that whatever makes you happy and however you want to create is exactly the way that you should create. I hope that's encouraging. I hope that reminds you that the times we spend in our craft rooms, in our art studios, working with the media that we like, when we go on walks, when we work in our garden, all the things that we do to recharge our batteries should bring us joy. They shouldn't make us feel less than. They shouldn't make us feel like we have to fit in. They shouldn't make us feel like we're missing out or we're falling behind. They should enrich our life. And there's a place for all of us in this crazy art craft world. So now I am back in my workroom and I can continue with tea with me properly. I have made myself an iced chai tea with some cinnamon. Oh, that's good. Frothed milk, frothed oat milk. That's delightful. Now that I am re-energized, I feel like I know what I want to say. I have been putting off taping tea with me for quite a while because I didn't really feel like I had much to say. I have made, I think, 30-something episodes of this chat type of video, and I've kind of run out of ideas. So I was struggling with the next episode, and going to the museum today really helped center and focus me because I now know what I want to communicate to you. Something that is very near and dear to my heart, and something that I think I've been wanting to say for a while. And I think that it's important. If you're tuning into Tea with Me, you're probably a regular viewer. You're probably one of my online community folks or friends, and you're not here just for free things or for the polymer clay. You're here because you're part of my circle. And first of all, I want to say thank you for that because it's so incredibly important to me. But second, I also want to say the reason I started my YouTube channel years ago wasn't to become this huge, big YouTuber. It was to connect with people. It was to find my tribe. And it's because I have an inherent need to share and teach. I am a teacher at heart. It's what I did for a living. It's what I love to do. And it means so much to me that I get the opportunity to teach. So having said that, I work really, really hard on my channel. And I think there's probably a misconception out there that YouTubers do what they do to make money. And maybe some do. And maybe people even within our community that get to a certain size do start to reap some financial benefits, which I think is wonderful, because let me tell you, it's a lot of work. But someone like me, I can put in 8 to 10 hours a week in videos and editing, and I will still, at the end of the month, probably my net gain from that from YouTube is a paycheck of about $1 a day. I make on the average between $30 and $35 a month on YouTube. That's it. So I can't be doing this because I can't be doing this as a source of income. I'm not doing this. My intention of doing this is not so that I can make money and do this as my business. I am doing this because I want to be part of a community, because I want to be a contributing part of that community. And that is why I do projects and I give freebies and I post about other artists so much, because I want a community. And I think a community means you have to participate, and showing other people's work, showing other products, talking about books, talking about ways to source, building a network of people. That is my goal here. And if that is something that you resonate with, then I'm really glad you're part of my world. And I hope that you know that I do this for you, and I really love doing it. So having said that, I want to make sure that if you're tuning in today, that you know about this project that I've been doing all month. It was a thank you to my viewers for hitting the 6,000 mark on YouTube. And I wanted to do a project that was community inspired, and that's what this project is. I'm not going to go into it a lot, because if you're watching this series already, I don't want to bore you, but it's basically a junk journal made from a binder that is celebrating the happy mail and the friendships I've made over the years. And when I get to work with the mail from someone, then I also get to share with you a new artist perhaps you don't know about, or a new creative person you don't know about. And oftentimes they will offer free things to the community because, like myself, they're community minded. And that is what this is all about. It's about connecting with each other. There's so much negativity in the world, and I think the positivity of working on things together is just so powerful and so wonderful. So if you haven't checked out this project yet, I really want you to know about it, because it comes with 14 pages of freebies. 14 pages. 14 pages of freebies from myself and my friends, and I just wanted to share them with you really quick in case you didn't know. There is a beautiful 4-page mini kit from Sharon at Mad Paper Crush that goes with this project and goes with a larger kit that she has on her Etsy shop. This is a free, beautiful, beautiful kit, free. And then I've been offering kits as I've been making this project. There's a globe from a vintage geography book, the vintage geography book cover, and some inside pages. 3 pages of authentic ledger from a postmaster from my own collection. 3 pages of tags and receipts from the post office, ranging from 1915 to the 1930s. And then this stunning digital from my friend Kim at Dodges and Daisies. All of these digitals are free and available now and will continue to be available, but this one is only available until the end of July, which means this weekend. So if you want any of these digitals, you'll need to go to that series. I'll put the playlist below, and all the digitals for each video are listed below the box, so you'll be able to take advantage of this. I mean, 14 pages of digitals that could all work together or could be used in other projects of yours. And my friends, we didn't do this because we were trying to make money, because these are all free. We did these because you're important to us, because you're important to me. And this artist creative crafting community is what I need in my life when things are tough, right? I need to do things that fill my soul, and I need people around me that understand my love. So that is my little spiel. And I hope that you can tell from the theme of today's video what I'm really about, and what this channel is about, and what my projects are about. They're about learning about new things. They're about being inspired by amazing art. It's about being true to myself and who I am, creating in a way that's authentic to me, and reminding myself that I don't have to feel the pressure of so many numbers and analytics and keeping up with the trends and making sure that I have enough subscribers, that exactly what I have now is exactly what I need. And whatever happens in the future will be just icing on the cake. And sometimes it's really hard not to feel like you're doing all of this work and putting in all this time, and you're not even sure that it means anything to anybody. But then I'll have an experience where someone will reach out to me, or I'll meet someone in a store, like that just happened last week, and they'll talk to me about my projects, and they'll talk to me about people that I work with, like Sharon or Maud or Aloha, and I'm reminded why this community is so important. And if I can make a video that makes you a little less lonely, makes you smile, inspires you, gives you some happy in your day, that is everything to me. So the only thing I ask from you is to like my videos, to comment if you can, because that is the only thing that keeps my channel alive and thriving. And that's really it. That's all I need. So the last part of this video, because I'm getting very long-winded and sentimental and mushy, is a couple of shares. And what I wanted to share is something that goes back to my being authentic, and being authentic to myself and to everything I love. And if you've watched this channel for a while, you know that I love my gnomes and I love my mushrooms. So I want to share a book of each. This book here is called Gnomes and Gardens. I also love gardens. It's by Nigel Suckling, illustrated by Wayne Anderson. It is a new book. In other words, it's not like an old book. It's relatively modern. And the gnomes are not always your traditional gnomes. The illustrations are really cool and cute and neat. It's a Barnes & Noble book. It was published in 2000, so, you know, it's only 20-ish years old. Some of the pictures may not be for everybody, but some of the images are just beautiful if you wanted to make a journal out of the pages, or you wanted to fussy cut or book harvest from this book. There are really cool pages with words and fonts and really interesting illustrations. Every page has a little gnome hat on it, and there are fairies too. There's some cute gnomes, there's some not so cute gnomes in here. There's a lot of different styles of gnomes and a lot of really cool illustrated pages. If you are a fan of gnomes, you are going to love this book. I love this page here with the dandelion. It kind of is a knockoff of the Dutch artist, who I can't say his name, but we all know and love him, in the sense that it talks all about gnome habitats and what gnomes do when they're cooking and their, decoration and, all these things, right? But it's not a knockoff in the sense that this is very original. The illustrations are very different, very interesting, and if you're a gnome lover, I think you will really enjoy this book. The second book I was almost reluctant to even share because I love this book so much that I'm afraid that once the word gets out and it's not the best kept secret, I won't be able to find it anymore for use in my projects. It is called Mushrooms. It is from Southern Living and Ormer House, and it was made in the 70s, and you can kind of definitely see that with like the green, and there was a fly leaf, like a a book jacket, but I don't have it anymore. I prefer the actual cover with the embossing in it. But inside, what I really love about this book is the paper is a creamy, thick, almost like a parchment paper. It's like the kind of paper that you would see maybe a certificate printed on. It is not your typical book page. It is flat, and there is a texture and a grain to it, and the colors are deep and saturated, and all the writing is done in calligraphy. And it was done in 1979 by Oxmoor House, and the illustrations are to die for. It is the most gorgeous mushroom book I have. I love how it's like a journal. I love the calligraphy and the deep, beautiful, beautiful illustrations. To me, this is my Edith Holden of mushrooms. And like I said, I was a little bit reluctant to even share it, but it truly is such a beautiful book. And I know how many of my friends love mushrooms like me. How could I not share it? Imagine the tags and the journal pieces you can make from this. It is just beautiful. Every part of it. And it has little animals in it. Every kind of mushroom. It has insects. It's just a gorgeously illustrated book with an unbelievable texture, and again, like I said, I would put it at the same quality as an Edith Holden, just in mushroom form. Both of these books are favorites of mine, and I'm sharing them with you because this episode is all about sharing and inspiring and reaching out to my community to tell you how much I care about you and how much I hope you feel that when you're here with me. I have the desire next month to have some new digitals in my shop that I'm working on. Really kind of cool, weird things that I have found that are part of my paper collection. So I hope that you will subscribe to my channel so you don't miss that. I also have a really exciting collaboration coming up with my friend Uta, or Yuta, I never know how to say her name, from Germany. That I will talk about more next month. And until then, I just hope this episode encourages you to be exactly who you are, to celebrate and enjoy the things you love, and to just reach out and enjoy this creative community. I love you all. I appreciate you, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.